Hi, everyone. Welcome to SBR Sports Picks. His name is Jimmy the Bag. My name is Peter Loshak. This is the last Loshak in the Bag show for the week of January 14th or 15th through January 19th. Man, what a grind, Jimmy the Bag. I forgot how tired things get in January. In my opinion, it's the toughest month of the sports bet because I feel like when February comes, the amount of games don't go down, but I need less time to research, and I feel like I have a much better handle on everything in college basketball. January's tough, though. Usually a down month for me, Jim. I'll be honest with you. I'll be perfectly honest. And this is not like when people say, I'm going to be honest with you, and they're about to tell a massive lie. I'll be perfectly honest, and this is true. January's usually a down month for me.
Well, I've gotten my ass kicked. I've come back $1,500 in the last 48 hours.
Nice.
But I've just been getting my ass kicked. But I feel a lot of hope. I like where we're going. The last 72 hours, I think, has been very good.
All right. Well, if things get bad for you, Jim, let's talk on February 1st. I think we'll be able to work things out in February in a nice way for you, Jim. February is always a good month, and I know now what the high risk edges I have are and the low risk edges I have are, and I think the long term I'm positive, Jim. But this month has been an ass kicker, right, Jim?
It certainly has.
We're going to talk about college basketball, NHL, NBA, MMA, and NFL. But I fucking love doing this show. This is what I live for. I look forward to this every day. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I hit back with here. Let me just bring up the most recent comment. We got to find some time at some point for me to communicate the story of the saga of my stash and all my quote unquote advisors, my Latina friend advisors. Just today, here's what I hit her with. Here's what I hit her back with. I said this. I said, you remember this comment? Hold on, shit, where is it? I said, today on the show, a guy said the guys in his office love my mustache and come into his office to watch the show. You remember that comment?
I do.
And she hits back with, well, I guess then you should keep the homeless look for that guy.
Oh,
ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. Okay. You see what I'm saying? I have this woman who's trying to quote unquote help me. She says, all right, well, keep the homeless look for that guy. Then I had to explain to her, it's not just for that guy, it's for all of them. It's for all of our wonderful viewers, not just one guy who made that comment.
We need that stash desperately.
Is it, though? Yeah, because it is a huge sacrifice. It's a massive sacrifice, Jimmy the Bag. There's no two ways about it.
Well,
you know
we all need love.
Yes.
So if it's holding that back, then I can understand it.
Yeah, it's definitely holding that back. I don't know. I mean, it's holding the females back. I don't know if love was ultimately involved in the equation, but yeah, we'll see. We'll make a decision. Mostly, I'm getting. I wish I could just somehow. I wish I had some format where I could just communicate the entire backstory so that I could refer to the jokes instead of referring to jokes that people don't have any idea what I'm talking about in terms of the people involved and what they said and why it's funny and this and that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, my point is, I love doing the show.
I love doing it too. I hate when it starts off by seeing Native Queen going against me on a play.
See, that always ruins it. I start out so happy. I'm like, who cares about the picks? I love the show. But then I start seeing people whose picks I respect going against picks I made. And then all of a sudden, it's back into the...
I can fully explain my move on it, though. So, and I've already sent it in. There's nothing I can do. And I can fully explain it. So I'm looking forward to... I'm looking forward...
Yes.
Like you, I absolutely love doing this show.
One of the initial comments here, Asper Twilate says, God, please let Pete's outfit be fucked up. Asper Twilate, listen, on Friday, my brain is fried. I don't even have time to spend 30 seconds or 15 seconds to pick out an outfit that I know is going to be a little bit fucked up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is what it is on Friday. I'm like, my brain is fried. I'm just wearing sweatshirts. I don't even have time to think about that joke. And it's not like I put a lot of thought into my outfits that are funny, but I do put like 15 seconds into those outfits, and I don't have those 15 seconds to spare. You know what I'm saying, Jim?
I missed the no-sleeve camo shirt so bad.
I still got that. We'll have some fun. We'll have some fun with this shit.
Luke Charlson saying, I'm at happy hour watching this show. The female bartender says, who's that piece of ass with the stash?
There you go. Very well delivered, by the way, Mwanma. Very well delivered. Nice comedic timing there. Yeah, listen, chicks on camera, chicks are always, like any chick with a boyfriend will always say, oh my God, no, it's so unique, this and that. I would love to date it. But any chick who actually has to date a guy with a mustache like this is terrified. They hate it to a man. And then here we go. Another comment here. Carlos Cortez says, I just recently started watching this show. If some clean-cut guy shows up, I don't think I could trust him. Yeah, I mean, look, hopefully we'll have some time where I can like show you the entire breakdown of what people have said to me. But all right, so let's.
I'm getting a nice diss though. Finally, I don't get enough of them. It says, where was it? Oh, you're all good with your dress code. Look at Jimmy.
Yes, exactly.
I got on my fucking Dope and Mike shirt though, man.
Very nice. Oh, Dope and Mike. Very nice.
yeah,
What is that? What the hell is that? That sounds cool.
It is cool. It's a comedy show in Toronto.
Dope,
Dope and
man.
Mike.
I want to be a fucking Canadian citizen. You know what I've been binge watching recently? Kids in the Hall, man.
Oh, fuck yeah.
God, Kids in the Hall is so good,
What a
and
great
it just
show.
makes me want to be a Canadian citizen more and more and more and more and more. Canadian chicks are awesome. The fucking economy is great. You know what I mean?
I do. I like going to this show in Toronto. It's in a weed smoking lounge.
Yeah. Oh God, Jimmy the Bag. I want to be a citizen of Canada. You might be able to pull some strings for me, though, right, Jim?
Oh, we'd love to have you.
It's
man.
not a huge country. I mean, you got to sign some papers. I have to have someone vouch for me.
You're
right?
vouch. Consider yourself
Yeah.
vouched.
And they'll be like, yeah, wow. All right. So anyway, let's get into the comment. And here's one comment from Reagan Womack. Loshak, if you know that January is usually a bad month, just bet the opposite of what you think. And if you have a losing January again, you'll know you're a better handicapper. Yes, that's true. And that's actually interesting because if you do have a negative edge on something you're doing, it does imply that you could have a positive edge doing the opposite. But that is really almost an impossible thing to actually do in handicapping. To handicap a game, believe honestly that you have a negative edge on that sport, and then to actually pull the trigger on the opposite. You know what I mean? It's like almost impossible to do. But I did once have a guy who I knew a guy, professional handicapper, who used to kill tennis, kill WNBA, kill AFL, and he made a baseball model, right? And he showed it to me and this and that. And I'm not going to name him, but he's a well-known guy, I think. And his model was so negative that he actually believed that it had betting value, betting the opposite of what it said, and he actually did it, and he was successful with it, but that was different because it was just a model. All he had to do was plug in numbers, and it would spit it out.
That's wild.
But that actually is an approach, and there's a guy I know an advanced modeler, made a model that was so bad that he believed that it had value betting the opposite of it, and he did it, and it was right.
Wow. Yeah. I wonder how you feel doing that.
Well, if it's just a model, it doesn't matter because it's just what it spits out. But if it's your actual handicapping, it's a lot harder to act on that. You know what I mean? If you're using non-quantifiable factors.
Our man Smooth says, I got 5 guys from Bermuda watching this show.
Very
so
nice.
Big up to Bermuda posse.
Very nice. And you notice how we turned the show, all of a sudden it just naturally flowed into from sort of joking around and bullshitting around to actual interesting handicapping theory, right, Jim?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, when I'm going through a tough time in the NFL season, like weeks 2 through 5 or 3 through 5, I've thought of just taking the opposite because I seem to always lose during those 3 weeks.
But it's one thing to believe that you don't have an edge to stay off. It's another thing to actually bet the opposite. But what you can do is you can think, well, what are the factors that I'm using to come up with these edges, and then try to do the opposite of those factors to handicap better, as the other guy said. And that is the way to And I feel like that's the case. It's just in January in all sports, I'm just not exactly sure what. Like which games would have those factors and which wouldn't. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like I know that like my numbers are often wrong, but I'm either going to blindly bet the opposite of everything or find a new way to figure out which numbers are wrong and which numbers aren't, and that's a little harder to do. But the point is that yes, it is a legitimate handicapping approach that advanced, experienced handicappers use when they realize that an approach they're using has a negative edge to actually figure out what they're doing wrong and do the opposite of that, which then becomes changing your approach, not betting against your edges. But all right, okay. So and here's the final before we get into handicapping. Asper Toilate, who's given us so much joy from his handicapping, from his screen name and from his comments, trying to going for the joke every show. Says these two are perfect combo. Pete is numbers guy and Bag is great game flow guy. Thank you so much for that positive comment. Twatty Latte, the old Twatty Latte Espiritual Latte. And I haven't had a chance to respond to his comments about how I sound like I have dicks in my mouth when I pronounce his name. Funny stuff. I just haven't had a chance in the flow of the shows to be able to comment on that, but I'd love to if I could. Oh, Juan waving in.
I think his name is Aspirin Toilet.
Aspirin Toilet.
You think so?
Yeah, you made that one up, Juanma. Very nice. Wow. And Juanma's name for him is Aspirin Toilet. Okay, and here we go. Native Queen. I did that before when I was in a rut. Hard to imagine Native Queen being in a rut, from what I've seen, quite honestly. I mean, you don't get to have her level of sharpness without some mistakes and learning from your errors. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Okay. Yeah, hide and seek says, I love Pete's story time. I could do a lot of story time episodes with all the fucking shit that's happened to me down in Costa Rica, and there's even another development that just happened today. One of the guys, the corporation that they have, does have assets, and it's up to date in the taxes. So this is a good. I'm a little bit happy because I just got this news today. Doesn't mean that we're going to be able to collect, but it's definitely positive development that I just got about 15 minutes ago. Jimmy the Bag.
That's great news.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, but so anyway, let's get into the handicapping section of this show. Let's start off with college hoops. I gave a bunch of picks earlier in the morning show. I did give what did I give here? What the hell did I give here? I gave Yale. I bet it at -1.5, and well, shit, I must have closed out a fucking. All right, hold on. Sorry, 1 second. Point spreads. There we go. I bet it at 1.5. Yale -1.5 when it opened, and now it's up to a 3 or 2.5. So it hasn't moved since I gave it in the morning, but it is up. I bet Iona at -2, and that line is slowly headed up. So that's a nice sign. I gave Yale first half and full game, Iona first half and full game, and Davidson. I bet that one at 4. That was agreed endorsed by multiple commenters in the morning show. That's now up to 5 or 5.5. I definitely mentioned that I bet Indiana at +15.5. That's now down to 14.5. I could see Michigan State rolling here, but they have been seriously overvalued in their last 3 games. It was not just their loss. It was seriously to Michigan. They were seriously overvalued subsequently after that. And then in the totals in the morning show, I gave, what did I give? I gave, sorry, let me just find the friggin' totals here. Sorry, just 1 second here.
It's all good, man.
Mm-hmm. On the totals, I gave only the over in Indiana, Michigan State. I bet it at 142. I had to give it at 143.5, and now it's all the way up to 145.5 or 146. And I'm thinking about throwing on the first half over as well. Jim, small slate of games. What would you like to add to your card here?
Well, I did cap every game, so I have some, and I found it difficult. But I am going consciously against you guys on Indiana, Michigan State. I am taking the under in this game. Tom Izzo said and repeated over and over again that you have to win he didn't say you have to win the war in the paint, but he said that's the problem, is we're not using Nick Ward, and he scored 4 points versus Michigan, 3 versus Ohio State. He averages 14.3 points a game. He said that Ward is not doing a good job of getting deep. He said the point guards are not doing a job of giving him time to get deep into the paint. With that information, I believe that the pace is going to be much slower than what we expect from these two teams. Michigan has lost 2 of their last 3. Both were by double digits. I'm going to take Indiana on the plus line, but I'm also taking the full game under. They lost to Ohio State by 16, lost by 10 to Michigan at home. In between, they barely beat Rutgers. In their losses, they just weren't going down low enough. You have to win the war in the paint if you want to win consistently. Now, Indiana's won 3 straight, coming off a 20-point win over Northwestern. Losing 6'10", 249-pound sophomore De'Ron Davis was a big blow to this Hoosier squad, but they've handled the adversity excellently. Teams will try to take advantage of the Hoosiers' lack of size, and Michigan State can't do that. They don't have the players to do that. They have the Hoosiers have been getting great guard play from Robert Johnson, Josh Newkirk, Devontae Green. They will have their hands full with point guard Cassius Winston, 12.7 points, 6.9 assists. But I am going against you guys, and I don't like this. It doesn't give me confidence to do that. But I am taking the under when I waited until very late for the line to go all the way up. And
well, who else is on the over? Just me.
No, Native Queen.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay. Jimmy the Bag there. I mean, hey, listen, Native Queen and I are, Native Queen's had some great calls recently, but a lot of my totals in college basketball have not been hitting in this show, so you might be on the right side there. I'm definitely agreeing with you on Indiana. So you're going to take Indiana, huh?
I am.
All right, Indiana. And the best line right now would be plus, there were 15s and 15.5s earlier. Now it's just 14.5 minus 104 at Pinnacle is the best line, plus 14.5 minus 104. And you want the under, huh? All right, let's see. The best line, 146 was available a few seconds ago, but it's not now. We do use up to the second numbers, so we'll give you 145.5. Let's find the best line here. 145.5 minus 105 at Bookmaker. That's the best line. That's a nice line there. Minus 105 under 145.
Sorry, what was the plus 14.5?
Minus 104.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, now I was thinking about taking Indiana here. Again, I bet it at 15.5. We did get some pushback in the morning show saying that Michigan State would handle this one, but I don't know. I think they might have some fundamental issues, at least as this kind of a favorite.
Yes, and Indiana's got a good thing going. They've got a good thing going. They were dealt with this adversity. They have to play small ball. They're going up against a team that can't hurt them with the small ball lineup. So, yes. And Eric Nisbet is with me. That's what I needed to hear. I needed to know that somebody else could.
On the under.
Because I was very concerned making this move.
Well, no, I can certainly see it, Jim, and I might take my play back, actually. Especially now that it's up to 145. But you like Indiana plus the points, right?
I do.
It's funny. I bet it, and I was like, "This is a bet. I'm fine if it loses." Now all of a sudden, I'm like, it's doubting myself now that I might want to give it as a public play. All right, I'll give it as a public play. Indiana plus 14. What do you think about the first half? Maybe even better, or not?
I'm just not. I've got a double play already here, and if I'm right on the under, well, first off, if Michigan State blows them out, then the under will hit. So I just it's kind of a hedge. I think if it goes over, Indiana is. The big thing is Tom Izzo kept saying over and over and over again that Nick Ward is the reason why we've been losing these games, but not hating on Nick Ward.
Right.
Saying that the pace is going to change. He's going to change the pace in this game.
I think you might be right there, Jimmy the Bag. I think you might fucking be right there, Jimmy the Bag. I'm going to take Indiana on the first half as well, plus 8.5 minus 110. That's the line right now at Bookmaker and Intertops and a few other places. And I'm taking back my play on the total. Wow, it really is headed up though. Man, now it's up to minus 124 at Bookmaker. It appears to be just headed up. It does make me a little bit nervous. I'm going to take it back though, Jim. I am going to take it back. I think you might be right here though, because Michigan State does have to do something differently. Tom Izzo is a hell of a coach, makes changes, you know what I mean?
And he knows that Deron Davis is out of the lineup. With Deron Davis out of the lineup, that Ward has to dominate this game, and then for Ward to do that, you have to give Ward time to get in position. And so there's got to be passes around the perimeter. The point guards have to dictate a slower pace to allow Ward the time to take advantage of Deron Davis not being there.
All right. I hate to do this to you, Jim, but I'm going to give myself 145.5 plus 103 because it just changed.
It's all good, man.
But we quoted minus 105 for you. These line changes will happen. We do use up to the second lines, which is another. Oh, wow. And it now just went to 146 at Bookmaker.
Shit.
It's not that bad, though, Jim. I can understand why the numbers say take the over. You know, and the market is determined by numbers. You know what I mean?
The two teams' pace says that they will go over.
When your handicapping factors are non-quantifiable, that will usually not be reflected in the market.
Yes.
So if the numbers say the over is the play, that's where the market's going to go.
Exactly.
And actually there were times I recognized that very, very early on. I'll never forget my first year betting seriously. That happened right in the middle of the year. Maybe it was around this time even. I remember the University of Virginia changed their style of play to be a much more lower scoring pace, and all of their games went for. And it wasn't just the first game. All of their games after that happened went under by at least 15 or 20 points, and that value kept up until for like 8 or 10 games. Or maybe 5 or 8 games. I don't remember how long it was, but I definitely recognized it. I caught it because I was doing intense research on every college basketball team at that point, and I saw it crystal clear in the market that the market was just wrong on their totals for like 5 or 6 games in a row, and I knew why it was wrong. And I knew why the market was where it was because of the overall year-long numbers. So you might be right there, Jimmy the Bag. And I'm acting on it. I'm taking the under as well. I'm hedging out of it. If it lands on 144 or 145, I win 2 units on that one, Jim.
Nice.
Very, very nice. All right. Anything else from college basketball?
Yes, I'm completely 100% with you guys on the Davidson call. I'm doubling up on this game. I think you guys are absolutely right, liking this game so much. In every way I looked at this game, I think Davidson's going to win. Davidson Davidson's been playing very good basketball. They've won 4 straight, the last 3 by an average of 23.3 points. They went into Fordham and beat them by 25 points. Fordham went into St. Bonaventure, and it was a 4-point game 4 minutes into the second half. St. Bonnie's bigs barely play. Of the players who do play over 20 minutes a game, junior Ladrian Griffin is the biggest at 6'6", 215 pounds. Davidson has 3 bigs that will take advantage of that, and they're all seniors. Leading scorer and rebounder, 6'8", 225-pound Peyton Aldridge, 6'9", 220-pound Oscar Mickelson, and 6'11", 250-pound Will McGarity will be playing a lot. Also, this team is really good working together. Aldridge, Gudmundsson, and Pritchett all see the floor very well and average over 3.3 assists a game. Davidson is 15th in the nation, averaging 17.8 assists a game. I really like this spot, and Twadi Latte says Davidson low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Or low-hanging nuts. Excuse me.
That was one of my picks in the morning. I gave him at 5. I bet it at 4. This reminds me of the IUPUI game when they were a big favorite like that. I bet it at 4. It went up to 6. Jim, you doubled up on that one. I did not have the balls to give it because just stupid reason because of the line. And now you can get 5 minus 108. Davidson minus 5 minus 108. That's the current line at Pinnacle. And then you want the first half as well, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, the first half spread on Davidson best line would be 2.5 minus 109. 1H minus 2.5 minus 109. And if you did your research and you're like it, I'm going to double up on it as well. I will take the first half minus 2.5 minus 109. I will double up on that one as well. Davidson first half, and Jim's on Davidson first half and full game. I agree with that one, Jimmy the Bag. One other total that I didn't give, I believe, but that was just in my leans column was the over. First half, at least, in the Iona Monmouth game, and that total has gotten bet down a little bit, and now it opened at 153. It's now down to 151.5 at Bookmaker. The first half total is headed down as well. What's your take on that game, Jim?
This was a very tough game, and at first I leaned Iona, and then Iona opened the year 1-4. They've gone 10-3 since. They've been doing a great job distributing the ball. 16 assists a game, good for 50th in the nation. They hit 40% from 3. Point guard Ricky McGill does a great job running the show. 13.9, 5.1 assists. 6'8", 220-pound senior TK Doji cleans up the glass and is averaging 8.6 points, 7.3 boards. He gets help from 6'7" Roland Griffin, 8.5 points, 5.1 boards. Now, Monmouth is a tricky team to cap. They've won only 2 of their last 10. They haven't found a rotation that works. There's 11 players in double digits. Leading scorer Micah Seaborn is out with an ankle injury. That's not 100% confirmed, but he's unlikely to play tonight. They're very small. Their leading rebounder is 6'1", 230-pound point guard Austin Tilgham. Their biggest player is 6'10", 280-pound Zach Tillman. He only gets 2.9 boards in 16 minutes a game. But they play well at home. And they've had a difficult time on the road with a very tough schedule. They played at Seton Hall, at Virginia, at Connecticut. Because they're playing so well at home, listen, this guy says it. Blutarski says Jimmy is reading. LOL. Yes, I'm fucking reading. I wrote fucking notes all fucking afternoon, and I'm reading them, asshole. So I was very... Monmouth has had a tough schedule. They play tough teams. They play better at home. Because of all this, I'm leaving the game out. Oh, and King Rail says he is out. So Micah Seaborn's out, and still... I can't go with Iona.
Native Queen says, I was liking the over on Iona. After further research, not sure anymore. And Dexter Rojas says Monmouth is the play. All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take the first half over in the Iona-Monmouth game. If the first half doesn't go over, no way in hell. The second half, not no way in hell. Anything can. There's never no way in hell in college basketball. Anything can happen in college basketball, but very unlikely that the full game goes over. So I'll take the first half over, 71.5 minus 110. Could easily see this one going to 67 and eating a loss on that one. You might be right here that Monmouth is probably going to slow down the pace. What do you think, Jim?
I do think they have to because Micah Seaborn's out.
Yeah.
But they don't have a very big team. So, et cetera, says Monmouth is way too inconsistent. Yeah, it's they play much tougher schedule than Iona. Iona is playing well.
All right, I'm on Iona. I'm taking them, but I'm not gonna take the total here. If the first half goes over 71.5, okay, that'll be money I left on the table. But that's fine. All right, what else you got for us, Jim?
Well, OJ says Buffalo minus 3.5 is low hanging fruit, and to be honest with you, I like Buffalo, and I wanted to make a bet on them, and I couldn't do it either. Bulls have won 6 straight, 9 of 11. They're clearly a different team with Wes Clark in the lineup. He averages 15.4 points, 6 assists. He's hitting 48% from the field, 39% from 3. They have a lot of depth. They also like to go small, but they have 2 6'10" bigs in Montel McCray and Kenneth Smart. They can throw on the floor at any time. Western Michigan is a 7-foot junior, Seth Dugan, 6'10" senior, and Drake Lamont, who can slow the game down. Offensively, they're led by 6'3", 190-pound senior Thomas Welder, who averages 18.1 points, 4.3 boards, 4.6 assists. Gourds, Josh Davis, Bryce Moore, Reggie Jones can all score from the wing. Jalen Walker leads the Golden Flash with 17.1 points, 3.1 boards, 2.1 assists. They have Kevin Zabo, Jalen Avery to help with the scoring, but they do not have a lot of depth. I like Buffalo, but I think they're in a tricky spot on the road. Dexter Rojas says Buffalo is a mat crusher. Rick H says Buffalo is a bet. Steve says Buffalo is a trap. I wanted, when I started this research, I was like, I want to find a way to bet on Buffalo, and I couldn't do it. Native Queen says Western Michigan first half and game, second half over. I knew you guys were on Western Michigan. Maybe that was in the back of my mind. But I
See,
could
I
not
don't
find
exactly
it.
when she writes those comments. I don't know what she like. First, she wrote I love Monmouth first half and game over. Does that mean she loves Monmouth on the spread first half, or does that mean she likes Monmouth on the first half over and the full game over?
No, to me that's like what I read from that is like for this one, Western Michigan first half and game, and then she's also on the second half over.
Okay, so spreads.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, because here she wrote, I love Monmouth first half and game over. Does that mean Monmouth first half spread and full game over, or does that mean Monmouth first half over and the full game over?
That might be a little more tricky, that last one.
Yeah,
so maybe,
we need to know. This is a Native Queen. This is a sign that we really, really respect you as a handicapper, because everything you post, if it's not crystal clear what you mean, we're like, what the hell does she mean? What the hell is she talking about? You know what I mean? Someone else would be like, I don't understand that.
Yeah,
who cares?
Native
Move
Queen
on.
says yes, against the spread.
Against the spread. All right, so Native Queen likes Monmouth then. Yeah, they play tougher at home.
And they've been playing tougher teams all year.
Motherfucker. All right, yeah.
But I can understand why you would like Iona.
Dexter Rojas says Monmouth is the play. Everyone disagreeing on this one. Let's see. Bookie Lover Q says Monmouth scares me. Let's see. Et cetera, says, yup, Iona. Let's see. Other comments here. Iona, et cetera, says Iona big on the road like Toledo, right? Native Queen loves Davidson first half and game. Okay, good. So we're all on that one. Thank God. All right.
Rick H, interesting. It says, against good programs, Western Michigan, horrible at home. Idaho, Oakland, tonight, Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo is for real. And they've been covering by a mile, even on the road, game in, at home, on the road, whatever.
If you look at their first 8 games and their 8 games with Clark, it's just a total difference. Guy is because they already had good passing to begin with. Then they add Clark, who's a great distributor and can score, has length on the wing.
Here's a comment from John Manamore. Davidson's been beating up on mediocre teams the last 4. St. Bonaventure has beaten Syracuse and Maryland on the road. Yes, I mean, St. Bonaventure has some nice wins. And I took St. Bonaventure minus the points against Fordham, and they did cover that. So they're a team that I have respect for.
Definitely.
I just feel like in this spot at that line, Davidson was the play. Definitely not any kind of like a super crazy lock or anything like that. At -4, I bet it. And at -5, I was willing to give it.
Yeah, and I get it. And in that game, Fordham was keeping close to the St. Bonnies. I mean, it was a 4-point game, 5 minutes in the second half. And Davidson absolutely destroyed them.
Yes, which is why I took him only on the full game, not on the first half on that one. Mela Pelasway says Buffalo cashes, Jimmy. All right, and there you go. King Rail says Sharps on Western Michigan, Public on Buffalo. Yeah, that game I'm staying off of has second half written all over it to me. Buffalo's awesome. I really don't want to bet against them. They're kind of like a poor man's Virginia right now, except they play fast-paced. But they're a team that drives daggers into teams, even on the road. I really don't want to bet against them. On the other hand, Western Michigan, a solid squad, has a home dog, So I'm going to pass on it. Hope you all cash one way or another on that game. Let's see. Other comments here. And Justin seriously says, last time I bet St. Bonnie's on the road, they got crushed by Dayton. Okay. Dexter Rojas says Buffalo game over 152. Rick H says Buffalo a bet. Steve says Buffalo is a trap. So right there you go. 2 comments right after another. Rick H. In fact, the same just 3 words each. Rick H. Buffalo a bet. Steve, Buffalo is a trap. And that's why these are so hard to pick. That's why these games are so hard to pick.
Very difficult.
Let's see. And Mr. Cloudkick says, Iona got this. Check back. I don't know. That's how I feel. And then Dexter Rojas says, trust Buffalo and Brown is the play. Dexter Rojas also really loved UConn. I'll never forget that. I'm sure Dexter Rojas is a good handicapper, but I do have that in my mind, that game against Memphis. Again, the guy was out, which we didn't know about, but Dexter Rojas loved UConn in that one. No offense, Dexter Rojas. I'm just, Buffalo, that game I'm off of, and Brown, we'll get to that one in a second because I took Yale. King Rail saying, so we all on Davidson? Pretty much. Again, I don't think it's a lock, but I bet it at 4, and I'm fine with it. All right, what else do you like here, Jim?
Well, I don't have any other official picks, but man, I was close at times. We can go the Canisius Manhattan game. Canisius playing good basketball. They've won 7 of 8. Malik Johnson runs the show at point, 7.8 points, 4.5 assists. Jermaine Crumpton, Isaiah Reese.
A funny comment from Triple Beams. He goes, and to think I used to just cap with me and my cat. Nice comment there, Triple Beams 3. All right, what do you like?
Jermaine Crumpton, Isaiah Reese, Tacole Molson all have length on the wing, and they each average double digits and over 4.5 boards. 6'11" senior center Salvadin Paninčić gives them some size. He only plays 16 minutes a game. They're going to have a very tough time with Manhattan's trio of bigs. 6'9", 220-pound Zane Waterman, 6'8", 205-pound Calvin Crawford, and 6'8", 220-pound Paulie Polycap all average over 9 points and 5 boards. And then you add a 6'5" senior guard Rich Williams with 14.3 points and 4.1 boards, and you have a formidable group. But in saying that, I couldn't back Manhattan. I think Canisius is playing really good basketball. The size scares me very much in Manhattan's favor, and that's why I have to lay off this game. I just couldn't find it. Native Queen likes Canisius first half and second half over. I just had to. Dexter Rojas says Manhattan comes to play.
You see, there she goes again. Canisius first half and second half over. Does that mean first half over and second half over, or first half spread and second half over? That means first half spread and second half over, right?
I'm starting to get confused.
All right. Anyway, my point is, and here, Barker Man. Everyone's when Native Queen writes, it's like she's like an oracle, and we're like, what the hell does she mean by that?
Yeah.
We need to know. I'm staying off that game. I'm going to look at second halves, and but I'm going to stay off of that one. Let's see. Manhattan is better coached at home from Dexter Rojas. Yeah, some interesting stuff here. Let's see. A little bit of not such super great news. A little bit of a line moving favoring St. Bonaventure now. They're down to 4.5 at many places, and the 5.5s are all gone. So that's not such great news, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Just buy back from people who think they're sharp, and they might be. But okay. All right. What else are you liking, Jim?
Well, Yale at Brown. I mean, we got to see these two teams meet last week. Yale squeaked out a victory. Both teams were very sloppy. Both teams turned the ball over a lot. Yale turned the ball over 20 times. Brown turned the ball over 17 times. Yale's Trey Phils will continually be able to break down the lane. He's very good at gaining contact, and he really excelled at controlling the pace the last time these two teams met, and then he went 10 for 10 from the line. Brown plays everyone. They have 10 players averaging double-digit minutes. Yale has more length than Brown, but these are very tightly matched teams. Paul Atkinson, 6'10", 220 pounds. He should win the down-low battles, but he's a freshman, and he just doesn't look like he's capable of it. He doesn't. He likes to dunk, but he doesn't like to bang and get boards. This is a very tight spot again. At first, I was leaning towards Brown, and then I just said, this is a very
Why were you leaning towards Brown?
Just because they played Yale very tight. I went through that whole game, and it was
there you go. He went through the whole game. But Yale didn't shoot particularly well from 3, if you notice.
They didn't shoot that bad.
Right.
But you were right. That was a problem. Now, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe Brown went 8 for 21 from 3 in that game. And that if they could do that every game, they'd win more than they would lose. And I don't believe that Brown necessarily was. I just think these are two very tightly matched teams. There was nobody taking big leads in that Yale-Brown game. And, yes, Brown played Yale tough in Yale. So I think that maybe they can squeeze out a 1 or 2 3-point win, but it's just too tight for me to make a.
Yeah, I mean Brown played Providence, took them to overtime, right? So that's even if that was a down spot for Providence, that's still an impressive result there. Okay.
Robbie has a great point on this game. It says they lost last week by 6, but missed 13 free throws, etc. etc. Says yep.
Who missed 13 free throws? Brown did?
Brown.
Yeah, let me find it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Yale missed 7. Yeah, Brown shot. That's right. Brown shot 58% from 3. Yale shot 70% from 3. Brown shot 43
from the field.
From the free throw line. Sorry.
Free throw.
Yeah, and then from the field, no, you guys might be right here. You know what? I'm gonna take that one back as well. I'm gonna take both those back as well. I know this is, but it's only because the lines have moved, and I might really get a middle. I mean, this line could land. So I'm gonna take it back. Brown +3 minus 106 minus 106. That's a take back play there. And let me find the first half on that one. This game has second half written all over it anyway, as the first one did. You remember, Jim? I had a super casher on the second half under on that one. That one was an easy call. A lot of these plays wind up being I have better bets on the second half plays than anything I see in the full game. And I will take back Brown first half plus 1.5 minus 108. I think you guys are right. I'm going to stick with the Iona plays here, but I'm going to pull back the Yale plays that I gave, and I pulled back the Michigan State over. But I'm adding on Indiana first half and full game. I do think that's going to be a tighter game than the market's giving credit for. And of course, the Davidson game I'm still on, despite the recent movement in St. Bonaventure's in St. Bonaventure's favor. All right, anything else you want to add on?
Yeah, we got the Illinois-Wisconsin game. I believe that's the only game left we haven't capped. Illinois started the year 6-0. They lost 4 straight. They find themselves 0-6 in conference play. They deserve better than to be 0-6 in conference play. They're coming off a 64-63 loss at Nebraska. Now, they out-rebounded Nebraska 46-29, but remember, Shamanga was out of the lineup in that game. But they went 3 for 18 from 3. Illinois has a lot of depth. 8 players average at least 20 minutes. You'll rarely find that in this in college ball. 6'10", 235-pound junior Michael Finke's their only traditional big, but they rebound by committee. Wisconsin has lost 3 straight. They're coming off a 28-point loss to Purdue. They're 40th in the nation in defense, allowing just 65.6 points per game, but 309th offensively. Ethan Happ continues to be the only player doing anything for this squad, averaging 16.7 points, 8.4 boards, 3.6 assists. 6'8" freshman Aleem Ford is hitting 46% from 3, but he never goes into the dirty areas. He's averaging just 3.2 boards in 23.5 minutes. That is unacceptable. This team won't move forward unless he goes into the dirty areas. I found this game to be another tough one, and I'm leaning. I'm not going to make a move on it.
Very interesting stuff. Yeah. Let's see. A lot of comments here. Nate Pereira. Loshak argues a poker player ever met Humberto Brenes in Costa Rica. No, but I did get rejected by a friend of his because of my mustache. Simply because of the mustache. Not kidding. That's the God's honest truth. Brent Brooks says native queen is a dude from Queens. That made me spew my drink out of my nose. That's funny. Dexter Rojas likes the home dog Brown. Robbie Tagaloa likes Brown is the play. Okay. Let's see. King Rail says, I took Brown because BMOC said so. Okay. Let's see. Other comments here. Yeah, Brett McGoxer says Brown is a very quick team. Okay. Yep. I'm out. I mean, I hedged out on that one. Slight chance for a middle there. Let's see. Dan Kelly says, I thought those smart kids make free throws. No, Dan, those kids aren't smart. They're self-satisfied dickheads. They're not. Trust me. I know kids who go to those schools, and they recruit for athletes anyway. But those kids are not smart. They're self-satisfied assholes. That's what they are. And some self-satisfied assholes make free throws. Some self-satisfied assholes don't. But one thing they are not is any smarter than the rest of us. I'll tell you that. That's for damn sure. They're ambitious. They're ambitious and self-satisfied and dickheads. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Comments. All right. Andrew Cisneros says, I wonder about the charger for the tablet, Pete. LOL. In the morning show, I just started using my computer, and I just started using live lines. It hasn't made that much of a difference. Before I wasn't using my computer. I turned my internet off so that we could have easily, auditable lines if anyone wanted to. They were all, at 12 o'clock Eastern time, whereas now I'm just using live lines, so it'd be harder to audit because you'd have to find the exact moment of the show. We gave the pick. So that's the difference. So we don't need the tablet anymore, and we're using, live lines instead of 12 o'clock Eastern time lines, which will be harder if anyone ever wants to audit it, but I think it's okay. It's fine. Not a big deal. All right. So no play on the Wisconsin game for you, Jim?
Nope.
All right, okay, let's see. Other comments. Nate Perez says, does Peter have a minor case of Tourette syndrome? I might have some issues here. I don't fucking know. And then some comments here. Let's see. All right, I guess we should move on, huh?
Yeah, we got NFL, and we might be adding a couple things. So
Okay, so let's move on to what's the next NHL. Okay, we're moving on to NHL. So. All right, once again, in NBA, in college basketball, this is what Jim gave. Jim gave Indiana plus 14.5, the Michigan game under 145.5, Davidson first half and full game, first half minus 2.5, full game minus 5. I think those are solid picks, Jim. I added on Davidson first half minus 2.5, and I added on Indiana first half plus 8.5 and full game plus 14.5, and I hedged out of my picks on Yale and the Michigan State over. I took Michigan State under 145.5, and I took Brown first half plus 1.5 and Brown full game plus 3, hedging out of my morning show picks on Yale. All right, so let's move on to NHL. Just 3 games. I, of course, gave the under in the Vegas-Florida game, and that line has not moved at all since the morning show. The big issue there is how is James Reimer going to do tonight, stopping the Vegas scoring machine? What do you think, Jim? Could cash, could not.
I think I've always expected more from Florida, and now they're coming off the bye and the volatility skyrockets. I agree that if you fade every team coming off a bye, you'd be successful. I just didn't feel comfortable with the game.
All right. Jim and I both gave Anaheim and Washington. Jim took the puck line on both of those. I took the -1 on both of those. For Washington, I believe you got 200, right?
Yes, I did.
And now that has gone down about 10 or 15 points, so nice job there. Jimmy the Bag beat a line move on Washington. He gave mine plus 200 in the morning show, and now it's down to the upper plus 180s. And Anaheim, I believe you got plus 190. And that is right where it is where it was in the morning show. And I also took the first period under in LA Anaheim minus 110. And that's it. Anything else you want to add or comment on from NHL?
I think this capital spot is really nice, but Niemi has played so well for Montreal that they got rid of what's his name? They traded what's the backup now? They traded him to Edmonton. Montoya. They traded Montoya away. So clearly Niemi just must have had a terrible run of luck or something for the people in Montreal to think he was better than Montoya, because I thought Montoya was a good backup goalie. But in saying that, Niemi did look awful in the beginning of the year, and I like that he will be in the pipes, between the pipes, and I like the Caps here. I think it's a great spot. I think only having these 2 games on both puck lines is a really comfortable spot for me. If I hit one, it's a nice day, so I love it.
Yeah, here you go. Conrado Mendoza says, who's going to audit you, Pete? Gags. Well, when our records were awesome, anyone accusing us of having a fake record, we could just hit immediately back with, fuck you, audit us, asshole, and do a spot check. I mean, we're not talking about every single play. Do a spot check. Now, I think people are willing to believe that I'm down 18 units in NBA. That's not something that anyone's really going to challenge. I mean, I guess someone would accuse me of using a fake record, that I'm saying I'm really down 35 units, maybe. And then I would say, fuck you, audited asshole. But, Conrado Mendoza, the answer to that is anyone accusing us of using fake records, which does happen from time to time. You know what I mean? People make that accusation,
Yeah.
Especially when our records are good. All right. So let's see. Let's move on to NBA, Jim.
Yes.
All right, moving on to NBA. Let's see. Let's try to remember what we took here. Yeah, the big question is Washington, 7 straight ATS losses, coming off a big blowout loss at Charlotte. Are they gonna bounce back here? I don't know. I did not touch that game. I did take what did I take? I took the overs in the Sacramento Memphis game. That had some people, of course, Reggie said, just trust me. That's a good play. Other people saying that was not a good play, and that line has now gone down 1 point down to 202.
I was so scared after the show that I did not send that in.
Yeah, you think that's a wrong play? Why?
Not necessarily. I just thought I needed the afternoon to sit on it. I guess I think the Grizzlies are going to roll. But hearing a bunch of people going away from us, I have not sent that bet in.
Yeah.
I tweeted out my actual bets, and that was those were the only 2 plays that I didn't send in.
In the meantime, Jimmy the Bag, you gave the under in Miami, Brooklyn, and at first that you gave it at the morning show was 208. It went up to 209 after the show. Now it's down to 206.5 or 207. I gave the first half under, and I think I'm going to add on the first quarter under here as well. I'm going to add on the Brooklyn first quarter under, which is 53. 53 minus 110. I'm going to throw that one on there. Under 53 minus 110 first quarter under. Nice job beating that small line, moving Miami, Brooklyn, Jim. Anything you want to add about the NBA card tonight?
Yes, I haven't sent in my Pacers play either because they took it off the board with, because my local uses Bet365. In saying that, I got a tweet from a guy who's staying at the hotel that the Pacers are in LA, and he told me that they got in a little after 2 a.m. and that there were fire alarms going on at night. And again, that made me want to talk it over with everybody. So both those plays, okay, I'm still going to fade the Lakers when they don't have Lonzo Ball playing. It's been very good for me. I don't see why I would stop. There's been talk that all the sharps are on the Lakers, and that's fine. I like the spot when Oladipo comes off a 9 for 25 shooting game. I know he's going to play better. Yes, I wish Miles Turner was out there, and we don't have the final information whether we know that Kentavious Caldwell Pope isn't going to play, but is Kuzma and Ingram going to play? Let me find that out right now.
And while you're doing that, I will throw on some other plays. Just they're in my leans category right now, my leans column on my spreadsheet. I will go with Jimmy. I'll triple up on the Brooklyn and Miami unders. I gave only the first half in the morning show, but I'm giving the first quarter here at under 53. And I will give the full game under. Jim got 208, very nice. Now it's down to a 207 or a 206.5 or even 206 at some places. The Greek still has 207, so I'll add that one on. Miami, Brooklyn under 207. And I think I'm going to go on the Wizards early against Detroit, maybe on the first quarter and first half, not necessarily on the full game. What do you think, Jim?
Sorry, which one's
the Wizards? For early.
I understand it. Now, I came into this morning show about to take the Pistons on the money line, and after everything that we talked about, I'm just laying off the game.
Okay.
Now, I think if I was going to predict the game, I would say the Wizards come out really hard and fast in the first quarter, in the first half, and then the Pistons come back and win late.
All right, I'm going to take Washington on the first quarter. That's going to be Pick'em minus 103 at Pinnacle. First quarter Pick'em minus 103, and then let me check the first half line. That's where the the advantage down low that Detroit might have. Yeah, that's also Pick'em. You think that Detroit just has that has an advantage down low?
Definitely, and that was my whole play. My whole play was based on Gortat getting the shit kicked out of him by Dwight Howard, and shockingly, I didn't think that Gortat would play like such a pussy, and he clearly did, and Drummond will do the same thing. Now, my problem with Drummond is I have a sense that there's a problem with him and Van Gundy. He goes for 25 points and 17 boards and gets called out again by Van Gundy. Van Gundy did mention that he did have a 25-point, 17-rebound game, but I think it's a tough.
You don't think Gortat can find some balls and find some fortitude and have a nice game challenging him just for this one time?
No, I don't. I think there's a reason why he scored 0 points. I think he's afraid of guys that are bigger than him.
All right, well, I'm going to take Washington first quarter, pick 'em minus 103. Hopefully Wall and Beal will just take over that game, at least for the first quarter, and get that one done. All right, Jim, in the NBA, what else do you want to add, if anything, or comment on?
Nothing, but we did get some nice notice right here that Marc Gasol will be in the lineup.
Yeah.
And Antoine Seymour says Kuzma is in, Jim. Also, which means Ingram will be a game time decision. I'm going to send in those plays. I'm going to send in. I'm just a little timid about the over in that Kings-Grizzlies game, but I do think the Grizzlies cover, and so the line move has gone down a point, so it's now a 202.
For the total. Yeah, now it's down to 202. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to not send that in. I'm not going to take it off my official pick, but I'm not going to put my money on that play. I just don't trust the Kings. Now, Zach Randolph will get extra time, and when Zach Randolph plays a lot, the scoring goes down.
Yeah.
And I should have talked more about that, because I hear of Zach Randolph. I hear of either retiring his jersey and all this shit, but I should have talked more about the fact that when he played, he's a guy that I like taking unders with, and he's clearly going to play over 30. I bet you he plays more minutes than he's played all season tonight.
Yeah, he's expected to play a lot tonight.
Well, he's coming back for the first time.
Yeah.
So
Uh-oh, Juanma's waving. What's up, Juanma?
James Vegas, before watching this show, my bankroll was up and down like a horse pajamas on a payday. But thanks to everyone, here I am now, steady and inclined. Thanks for the knowledge and insights.
Yes, you're very
nice.
welcome, James Vegas. And I will say, if you're watching this show and just following Jim and I, that can be good, that can be bad, that can be up and down as well. But if you're watching the show and following Jim and I and reading all the comments and listening to our commentary on the comments, I think you're on a steady incline, because
I
we're
agree.
starting to get to know, like, who knows what they're talking about and in what spots and why and when. You know what I mean?
Also,
Wisdom of the crowds,
A
Jim.
lot of times when you have, let's say, 4 or 5 plays that you like, and then you see the play where, like, let's say Pete and I also like that too.
Right.
That means the 3 of us like that. I think that will hit at a higher percentage than
Yes,
every
yes.
other one.
We got a nice little wisdom of the crowds thing going on here. Everyone liking Juanma now. Juanma is the best, says Juan Rodriguez Pena. All right, so Jimmy, you want to add any picks here?
No, but I have decided I will. You know, I might even be afraid to send in that Grizzlies play, but I'm not going to. I think they're going to win their 3rd straight game. So I'm going to send in the Grizzlies play. I'm not going to send in the over. And then I am going to send in the Pacers plays, which includes the under. So I'm going to send in the and what is the under gone to in the line for the under? Sorry.
In the Pacers game. Yeah, that's another game that, again, a classic wisdom of the crowd situation. We discussed that game in depth in the morning show. Jim, I was going to pass on that game completely, but a lot of people made a strong case for the under, and we are all liking it now. And we took it at 215. It's now down to 213, 213.5. The Greeks still hanging 214, Jim.
Sweet. And Melee Payless Way says Raptors. Jimmy, I get it. I'm just not that comfortable against the Spurs right now. Even though, I have not really liked the way the Raptors have been playing. I didn't like the way they played against the Pistons, but we don't have much time left, and we do want to get to our NFL picks.
Okay, so right now we're just going to quickly take a look at UFC 220. I did handicap that with once again with Andreas Hale. Yesterday, that video is up at SBR at the SBR Videos site. Just some interesting fights here. Of course, Stipe against Ngannou. I don't know how closely you follow MMA, Jimmy the Bag, but these are 2 vicious heavyweights in their primes, Jim. Ngannou might actually be not even peaking yet. Both of them, he knocked the fuck out of Alistair Overeem, and
that guy's coming back.
That guy's coming back,
shit.
yeah. But he's going up against Stipe, and Stipe is the champion. Ngannou is definitely stepping up in class here. I think Stipe is. You can't make the argument that he's not the toughest guy he's ever fought. But Ngannou, the challenger, minus 190. The last time I saw Stipe, the champion, plus 160. He's a little bit ticked about that. Stipe can get knocked out though, so that's a tricky one, tricky fight. Wow. But Andreas Hale and I both took the over on that one, even though it could easily be. It's understandable why this total would be so low, right? Because Ngannou can end it on one punch. Stipe can get knocked out, can floor a guy, can knock a guy out. So this fight could end at any moment, but you have to assume that both of these guys are going to be respectful of the other guy's power, right? You know Stipe wants to avoid the one huge punch, and even Ngannou, as confident as he is, knows he's going up against a champion, knows Stipe's faster than anyone he's ever fought before. He's got to be respectful as well, and I think that means that more likely than not it goes over. It's a 5-round fight. Over 1.5 was plus 135, and we made that one an official pick in our video.
Ooh. Exciting.
Yeah, now there could be a first-round knockout easily, and in that case, the bet will lose. But it's okay. We took the over on that one. Then in the Volkan DC fight, another one that's interesting. DC, this is a very, very tricky one. DC could, if you take out John Jones' fights from DC's career, you could make him, a pound-for-pound, greatest fighter of top 10, whatever, top 5 of all times. Obviously, the John Jones fights made him look bad. So now, how much is that? In his head, not exactly sure. This is another one where we took the over 1.5 rounds at minus 200. It's a high, but just 1.5 rounds though. So that's another one where I think it's just likely to go over the very low total of 1.5 rounds. Volkan is a guy who probably wouldn't be getting a title shot here if it weren't for the thinness of the light heavyweight division. There's just not a lot of guys who you can throw up there against DC. So that's a very tricky one. How is DC going to bounce back from the John Jones loss, although it wasn't technically a loss? And how is Volkan going to deal with the step up here? I could see a loss by DC. I wouldn't be surprised, if he lost, but we're just taking the over 1.5 at minus 220. And we also liked Thomas Almeida against Rob Font. At one point, he was like, the next big thing, and the shine's come off of him a little bit, but we feel like he's getting a little bit disrespected against Rob Font. Rob Font is, from Boston, has won in TD Garden before, a guy who, is a quality fighter. But at the current lines, Andreas and I both thought that Almeida at -115 was a good bet, and we took that one. And then I also threw on the over in the Volante Barroso fight. Andreas Hell passed on that one, but I took the over 1.5 rounds in that one, also at about -220. Volante very, very inconsistent. He's been, saying that he wants to finish guys a lot sooner than he has been finishing them. He's had some fights where he lost, at the cards, and he felt like he should have been able to finish those guys. So, that's a fight with a lot of inconsistency and uncertainty. There could be an early finish there, but I think more likely than not there won't be. Barroso fights at a very slow pace, which will probably, Volante's not quite the kind of guy who can dictate, who can force the pace. So I think it's going to be a relatively slow-paced fight, and if so, it probably gets over 1.5 rounds. So I gave 4 picks. I gave Stipe and Ngannou over 1.5 plus 135. DC and Volkan over 1.5 at about -200. Volante and Barroso over 1.5, also at about -210, I think, and Almeida to win at -115, Jim. And those are all the bets that we made in the video with Andreas Hale.
That's exciting. Heavyweight match is going to be big, and I'm looking forward to see Cormier fight.
Okay, let's get some comments here. Isan Zolfagari says, Pete, that Thomas Almeida pick is a nice pick, under the radar a bit. I like it. Yeah, just feels like, Font is a tough competitor, but just feels like Almeida's getting a little bit disrespected at the line of -115. Probably should be a favorite of -150 or so, more than -115, right? Grabaka Mech says Almeida fight is a tough fight to call. I agree with you. I just feel that, like, at the odds, again, I wouldn't be surprised if he lost, but at the odds, we took him. All right, let's see. Other comments here. Let's see. Omar Magana says Burgos lean for me. That's definitely a tough fight. Burgos is an up-and-coming guy, undefeated. But Cater on the other side came in and got a nice win off of short notice. So we're not too many unknowns. I wanted to pass on that one. Robbie Tagaloa says DC will dominate this match on the ground. Yes, that probably will happen. I'm just still thinking that unless he gets a first round sub, which is entirely possible. Volkan might be overmatched, and if so, he might get subbed in the first round. But which could happen. But I'm assuming that Volkan will also be at least a little bit cautious, and so will DC after the John Jones loss, and that we'll see the fight go over. All right, let's see other comments here. All right, that's it. Now let's move on to NFL. We have, of course, the conference championships. Jimmy the Bag, I know you looked into these pretty deeply. What do you have to say about these two fights here?
Well,
these two clashes.
It's going to be a tough card, and but in saying that, I truly think that you should jump at the New England spot right now at 7 points, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to send it in as soon as this show is over. I also am going to take the over as an official pick, and I'm going to spend the night figuring out if I'm going to send it in as a bet. But I am going to bet New England. Jacksonville just beat an under-prepared Steelers team. Tomlin did a shit job. Pats have been in this game for 7 straight years. The reason why I'm leaning over is that the Jags will lean on their running backs, just like they did in the last game. Little dump-off passes. Try to create a situation where Bortles doesn't have to do too much. Make Yeldon and Fournette do the work. In saying all that, I think the play is Pats and over.
Okay.
I'm likely going to make a bet on the over. I'm just being totally transparent with you guys that I'm not going to send it in immediately after the show. I'm going to spend some more time thinking about it. But those are my 2 plays. I think that we should jump at the opportunity to get 7 points. Yes, I know that Brady's got a mysterious hand injury, but he's Tom Brady. And I think even if he has stitches, they'll figure out how to make it work.
All right, so you want to make that an official pick on your record, Jim?
I do.
All right, the line is headed down, -7, -110. Current line at Heritage. Most other places have -115, but Heritage all the way down to -110. And you want the over on this one as well?
I do.
All right, let me find the totals sheet here, the totals page at SBR Odds. It's down from 46.5 now down to 45. 45 -109 is the best line right now at Pinnacle. Over 45 -109. 2 official picks from Jimmy the Bag. That sounds good. And then the Minnesota Philly game. I was thinking that maybe this is a spot where Philly was obviously the right play as a home dog last week. Now I'm thinking maybe not. Maybe now Minnesota rolls here. What do you think, Jim?
I wouldn't say that they roll necessarily, but yes, I think the Vikings will beat the Eagles. And I know that bothers a lot of people. The Eagles have played with a ton of heart, and their defense is strong. And the Thielen injury makes me uncomfortable. He will be playing, though. In saying that, Keenan is better than Foles, and the Vikings have better weapons. Now, I'm comfortable with the Vikings at -3. Happy to take it. But the over-under is an extremely tricky spot. I was very confident in the under, even though it was low in the Eagles-Falcons game. And yet, for some reason, I just can't hammer this under like I did last week. There's something just kind of, I just can't. It's so low, and I'm going to spend more time thinking about the over-under here. I'm only going to make an official play on the Vikings, and I will be betting them.
Oh, really? Okay, you want to make that one? That's how I was feeling as well, Jim. Let's see. There's no 2.5s, but there are 3s at plus money. Pinnacle has -3, plus 102. So you want that one, Jim? Minnesota -3, plus 102.
Yeah, I like that line.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I was feeling that way as well. My leans on this one, I'm not going to give any official picks because I just haven't looked into it deep enough to make an official pick. But I'm agreeing with Jim on the over with the New England-Jacksonville game, and I'm agreeing with Jim on the Minnesota -3 play. Not totally sure what I think about the Jacksonville spread now that it's coming down. I'm going to have to look into that one a little bit more, but I feel like it's probably a good spot to take Minnesota at -3 plus 102.
I would predict that that line won't be at
Goes back up.
-7 by Sunday.
Right. Especially if it's like, Brady's good to go and whatever. Then all of a sudden you're going to see 9 again.
Yes, and are we dealing with? So we're dealing with stitches, supposedly, is a rumor, and that's tricky. It's tricky. You can bleed through the hand, bleed through the glove. I mean, we saw that with that fucking drone pilot against the Jays in the playoffs. Not this past playoffs, but the year before. So it's a tricky spot. But I do believe that line, you won't be able to get 7 before the game starts.
That's probably true. And especially the public is definitely going to be betting the Pats big. And that money will probably come in on game day. And so, yeah, you're
I know a lot of people that are not, that gamble just for fun and is a hobby just to make games exciting. Almost all of these guys are putting money on Jacksonville.
Really?
It's a funner bet for them. They're taking Jacksonville on the money line. They're getting a huge play. And I have a sneaking suspicion that the money won't come in on New England late. I think people, the fun public plays will be on Jacksonville for a big score. But I'm not complete. This is kind of a hypothesis. But in saying that, I do think that line -7 won't be available.
A small sample size, but Jimmy the Bag says, well, the idiots that I know are all on the Jags. You know what I'm saying? We're only talking 8 or 10 morons here, but they're all on the Jags, right?
They are. They're all on Jags money line.
And as we know, there's hundreds of thousands of morons worldwide that bet these NFL games. But the small section of those, a small portion of those that Jim knows are all on the Jags. That's interesting, Jim. That's interesting. Is it possible that the morons are slightly less moronic than morons in general?
No.
These guys are dumb as shit, right? They're dumb as shit. All right, so we will see where this. I gotta believe this line's gonna close at 8.5 or 8.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll go up to 8.5 just because of the mysteriousness of the hand injury, but I'm sure that if you can get -7 now, get it. Take it.
All right. Yeah, and of course we do use live lines, and I just said that we gave you 7 because that was the livest line at the moment. But at Heritage it just jumped up to 7.5 plus 100, so we gave you 7 minus 115. I'm sorry, 110. There's still 7 minus 115. So if you had taken it like right now, you would have gotten 7 minus 115. But that just shows you how much these lines do move around. Heritage just jumped up to 7.5 plus minus 105. Yeah, interesting stuff. Jimmy the Bag. All right, let's get to some. Let's just review the final comments, review all the picks, and then we'll wrap this show up. Mohammed Joma says Jacksonville is a fraud. Let's see, and I do want to get to one comment from on MMA from where is it from Donald Trump, who follows MMA pretty closely. A couple of comments here. Oh, some new ones. Wow. Donald Trump also likes the over in the Miocic fight. I bet the over 1.5 in the Miocic fight, but added plus 700 for Ngannou via second round KO. Yes, Donald Trump. I would not take this one. The fight not going the distance is minus 1,100, and I would not take that one. I do think there's going to be a finish, but I think it's more likely than not to come in the second round, third round. Definitely these guys are going to be respecting each other and feeling each other out in the first round, I think. Maybe Ngannou's a confident guy. He might just go in there, go for the knockout, and either get it or get knocked out. That's possible. But I have to assume they're going to respect each other a little bit in the first round, and then it's more likely than not to go over. So that's very interesting. And Ngannou himself, according to Donald Trump, says it's his own prediction that he's not going to crack Stipe's chin in the first. All right, so that sounds good. Donald Trump liking the over 1.5 in the Miocic fight. That's one of my bets as well, but also liking Ngannou for a second-round knockout. Yeah, I think that those might, like, if you're going to bet Ngannou, I would definitely not bet him minus 190. I would take him, I would take the specific round because those odds are way bigger. Those are like 600, 700, 800, 900. If I was going to bet Ngannou, no way I would take him to win at minus 190. I would take him by knockout, maybe in the second round, maybe in the third round, something like that, and hedge it out. You know what I mean?
He's a big boy.
Yeah. If you want to take Ngannou, that's what my recommended play would be. Go for it on the like a third round knockout, maybe a second round knockout, just like Donald Trump says. All right, and then Trump also said, I want to get to this comment. He says he likes Volkan. Wow, as a big underdog, Donald Trump says, with DC talking retirement against a dude who slept everyone apart from his short notice debut, being an underdog against everyone, and DC taking a lot of damage in his career. Yes, the question is just, DC's pretty much dominated everyone except John Jones, so I'm not entirely ready to fade him here. And Volkan obviously taking a massive step up. DC's age does matter, and his mental state after the John Jones fight I think matters as well. I'm certainly not betting DC here, but I'm not touching the side. I do think that it's going to go over 1.5 rounds, so I did take that one for sure. Okay. And so great comments, Donald Trump there. And let's get to some other comments. Wow, a lot of comments coming in on the NFL games. I don't even know where to start. A lot of people liking New England. Steve says New England by 17. Muhammad Joma says Ennie is going to kill them. Let's see.
Jay Peach says take the under, Jimmy, in the Pats game, please.
Let's see. Melas Pelasway says under in Minnesota, Philly. Okay, the very low total there. Let's see. Steve says line up to 9 by Sunday. Book it. Triple Beam says, I took Eagles plus 2.5. It's a Philly-Jackson Super Bowl. Okay, let's see. Jeremy M says Vikings money line is good, but he says he's going to take the Eagles plus the points because it's going to be a close game. SJ Shark Rules says shot their load last week in the miracle play. I don't know about that. Like I've said, a lot of times these quality teams, like mediocre teams and bad teams that win like that definitely do shoot their loads. But like these quality teams, you see this a lot of times in the conference championships in college basketball. When a team starts going on a roll, sometimes they can win like overtime game after overtime game in a row, and spots where you would assume that they would be tired or maybe on a letdown. It seems like the adrenaline just kind of like lasts throughout the entire event. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
these elite teams can explode like 3 or 4 or 5 shots in a row, baby. You know what I mean? One shot, they got another one right behind them. I don't know. That's a tough one. That is a tough one, but we'll see. Jimmy the Bag, like in Minnesota. SJ Shark Ruiz says Minnesota shot their load in their miracle comeback last week. We'll see. Just want to get to some other. Got so many comments here about the fucking football games. Wow. Justin Searcy says Brady does not have a damn hand injury. Pats are liars. Yeah, they're crafty like that. The greats are crafty. Michael Jordan, crafty, faking injuries all the time, right? What's his name? Belichick does the same shit, right? Let's see. Let's see. Malik Richon says the momentum of Minnesota getting to host Super Bowl will carry them through a close game. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think they shot their load. White Guy Video Game says I doubt they will roll on the road. I think Minnesota will win, but Eagles got a solid home field. Yes, that can be the case for sure. Let's see. Luke Charleston says Vikings a fucking lock. Okay. Jimmy Barth, the Barham Dog Jenkins says, have a great weekend, everyone. Pete, you and Jimmy have comedic skills. Thank you so much, Barham Dog Jenkins. And we need those skills because we can lean on them when the picks are shitty, right, Jim? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like don't put all your eggs in one basket. Most people only have one egg. But if we got 2 or 3 eggs, we can lean on the comedy when the picks are going shitty.
The next 6 weeks are just so fucking busy.
Yeah.
There's not very much time. But in the summertime,
it'll be different.
It's all baseball.
Yes, when the shits are going picky, when the picks are going shitty, me and Jimmy can lean on our comedic skills. Thank God.
But you have to shit the bed to clean it.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you? What the hell do those boring handicappers do when their picks go south? That they just got to sit there being boring and sucking at capping. You know what I'm saying?
They lie about it.
Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah. There you go. That is what they lean on their lies. Which, look, if we didn't have comedic skills, I'd probably lean on lies too. I'd be like, you got to do something. You can't just sit there being boring, giving out shitty picks day after day, right?
Hey, I went down $7,000 in about 12 days this month, and I was down $5,000 as of 72 hours ago. And it's that honesty and that the transparency. Now, I took a bunch of shit. People hammered at me. A ton of people were saying shit, dissing me nonstop. But I've got back 1,500 of it. Now I'm only down 3,500, and people are cheering for me, and they believe me. They trust me because I'm being transparent and honest, and we're not ever going to sell fucking tips, and we don't believe in that shit. And I think that our accountability and our transparency is what's special about this show.
Yes.
And that's why people will stick with us even when we're losing.
Yes. All right. Great. Donald Trump finally says, I love DC, by the way, but I got to take it. He barely made weight again. Yeah, and look, he's getting older. I love to bet against these aging legends in title fights. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, you're right, especially when because they're usually a massive favorite. You know what I mean? I agree with you, Donald Trump, but even more, I like to bet on overs in aging with aging legends in fights like these. After Anderson Silva was over the hill, I was taking the over in every fight he was fighting, and they all cashed. So yes, great comments, Donald Trump. A ton of comments on the NFL games. We don't have time to get into them all, but we can wrap this up right now, Jimmy the Bag. I think. Yep. Thanks so much. We love you all. Thanks so much for all the comments, and we'll be back on Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time.